Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the work session for Monday, March 13th. Happy Women's History Month, and thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's work session. We have a very robust agenda, and so we will jump right in. Now that the meeting is called to order, I'll ask the council for approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Rout. Any comments or questions or edits? I would just ask, Ms. Renee Green was at the event Saturday and just asked for a quick patriotic update. Time permitting, I would like to add that to the end. But hearing no other edits, and if that's all right with the council, looking at everybody, looks like it's okay. Okay, so
Yes.
with that, I'll call for a motion to approve. All that are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. The first item up, item number 3 is approval of the meeting minutes. Mr. Charnovich, I saw the council meeting minutes in the packet, but did not see the work session minutes. Do we need to table those until the April meeting?
Yes, please. I completed 2 regular meetings, session minutes, but not the work session. I started them, but then I get to complete them. So please table.
Okay, no
Thank you, Mayor.
problem. Absolutely. You gave us a couple minutes back, so thank you. With that, we'll move to the next item, which is the appearances for tonight's meeting. So we do have 2 identified. The first is with Mr. Tony Perez, President and CEO of LA Perez Consulting, and he is our lobbyist. And I also want to acknowledge his team member, Teresa Hessler, who works arm in arm with Tony. Thank you for joining. And Ms. Jamila Robinson, thank you for joining us as well. And thank you all for your support throughout the session. So over to you, Mr. Perez.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Perez, you froze
Again,
on
I'm
my
Tony
end.
Perez, the President and CEO of LA Perez Consulting. Did I freeze? Am I having that problem again? Am I there? Am I here?
You're back.
Here.
You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, I won't move. Look, see, I won't move. I mean, you bring me in and relax me with jazz music. So I mean, thank you. My computer relaxed on the jazz music, just so everybody understands. That was beautiful. So thank you. That's my style. So anyway, but good evening again, all, and we really appreciate it. It's our honor and privilege to let you know, to service you, and we will give you this brief report because we're in the beginning but headed towards the middle of session. And I did send you from Jamila. Let me introduce her. I know you mentioned her. Is her camera on, Jamila? Did you turn? There she is. Yeah, camera's on. But I wanted to say something special. You know how wonderful Teresa is, and we've been working together for quite a few years and doing a lot of things together, but in business. But I wanted to talk to you about Jamila and have her just to give you a little brief without taking too much time, because I know you have a heavy agenda. But I discovered her, someone brought her to my attention out of Prince George's County, out of Comar Manor. And she knows everything that she does, and told me that she was she attended Howard University. But look, let me just let her introduce herself and then I'll go into the report. How about that? Sorry, Jamila.
Hello, good afternoon, guys. I'm Jamila Robinson. I'm a philosophy major from Howard University. I'll be graduating from Howard this semester. And it's a pleasure working with you guys, or getting to experience everything with you guys. I'm still learning in the ropes, but it's definitely been interesting. And a lot of learning has been going on since I've started this internship. So.
Well, awesome. And as I said, you all know what Teresa does. And the mayor, you spend a lot of time on calls with us. And I know Councilmember Rowell has been involved with us on a few things as well as you, Madam Vice Mayor Pro Tem. But that being said, we just want to talk to you a little bit about where session is right now. Mayor, I do, before I get into anything, we will have that report we gave you. We will try to get you that on bi-weekly basis. We hope to get it weekly, but definitely on a bi-weekly basis, we will get you that. That is the local bill chart that we wanted the town to be aware of what's going on with local bills. But we, not only will we give you a final report in June after session and all the bill signings have been done by the governor, we owe you a report, I think, in our gap. I'll take responsibility for that. I still owe you a report for last session. So we'll give you both of those reports at the same time. That's on me. So I just wanted to make sure we knew that. I think what happened, we stopped in April and didn't come, we had a gap. So that's on me for sure. No excuses. We'll take care of it though. I think you'll like that report as well. And so with this report, there's not a lot that I want to share with you with local bills, but there is one bill I want to bring to your attention because I know you've been truly, all of you have been pushing your economic development down in the town of Bladensburg, which I think is phenomenal. I mean, I was blown away when I seen it, it's been about a month now. And I think you presented it well to the county executive and others that needed to see your mission down in Bladensburg. And I think this team is dynamic and has a great plan. I'll bring one local bill to your attention. It's MCPG 107 23. And the reason why I bring that, because that's a county bill that's sponsored by Delegate Mary Lehman. And it was something that was initially proposed by the council, and it looks like it's not moving right now. The Bi-County has settled all their business for the session, so it didn't make it out last Friday, so it doesn't seem like it's going to make the crossover. But the reason why I bring that bill to your attention is because what that bill does, it could have a negative impact on your plans for economic development. And what that bill would do is, if you live in the town of Bladensburg and Tony Perez lives in the city of Accokeek, I could then file an appeal and oppose your project and call it standing. And I'm not, it's not that I just think it's the wrong approach. I have a little bit of understanding and experience in standing. And just to give you an example, a citizens group filed they opposed a project in Westphalia that would have brought a lot of tax revenue and would have created a lot of jobs in the county, which we desperately need, obviously, all the time. It was part of the county exec and others in the former county council looking to push. But most recently, the courts had to step in and rule last week that citizens association was wrong in that process. So I say that to say is we have standing in the county. I don't believe that, it's wise to expand it, because it could let anyone and everyone into your business in the county. And I just think your business is your business and you grow how you choose to grow or not. So I just wanted to bring that bill to your attention, but right now that's stuck in Bi-County and that's not moving forward. So what we'll tell you is there's going to be crossover coming next Monday. So with those bills, when we get there, the pace is really going to pick up. So we're going to have, you're going to see that bill chart's going to be a little bit more, we're going to expand it a little bit more. So you're going to see a little bit more information, because bills have to get over from the House to the Senate and the Senate to the House by the 20th. So next Monday is going to be very business-like. So very busy for the rest of us, Teresa and I, and you, Jamila. It's going to be very busy. So I would say, I'm glad you had this on the 13th and not the 20th, because we would be stuck chasing legislation on that day. So I'm just going to leave that right there, other than just saying thank you for letting me be a part of your process with I think you all have a dynamic strategy when you approach the county executive, mayor, you and your entire team in managing that process with the potential project that could have been coming to the city. I think you all it's good to see a team unified the way you are to deal with your situation. You have a lot of smart people on this team, and you're all gonna get a lot of good things done, I think. So I love your vision, and I'll pass it to Teresa so she can tell you a few things about a few statewide bills that you may need to be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you and good to see everybody again. My name is Teresa Hessler. For those I have not met, working with Tony and Jamila and the team very closely on the city of Bladensburg. And we have been reviewing and tracking over 4,000 bills. We have 112 specifically that may pertain to the town of Bladensburg on our sheet, which you all will see probably end of day next Monday, as things are moving very quickly this week. So the majority of legislation has been waiting to move across the street. This pace is very, very different this year with a new administration coming in. And so we expect that this week there will be double floor sessions in both the House and the Senate as they hurry to rush things across the street. I did see that somebody had asked a question about Delegate Nicole Williams' bill, which is the state finance prohibition appropriations, magnetic levitation, transportation system, and the cross file. So that's her, Nicole Williams' bill is House Bill 106, and the cross file is Senate Bill 50. Those bills had hearings very early in session, but there has not been any movement on either bill as of yet. We will continue to keep everyone here updated if there is any movement. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of things that have just been sitting in committee, waiting for a vote list and kind of just going through hearing motions while they get some of the heavier things off the table. Another piece of legislation that I know everyone has been following closely is police accountability boards and authorizing municipalities to have, if they wish, the authority to set up their own police accountability board. Those conversations are still being considered. Right now, I think the chair of both committees are open to amendments and suggestions that we have, and certainly we want to continue to fight to have the authorization if we wish to set up our own boards where this makes sense. So we're continuing to work with both the House chair and the Senate chair to make sure that our voices are heard. Just some internal feedback that we're getting on both the House and Senate bill is that they're kind of waiting to see if there's a backlog on a county level. And since last year's legislation was so new, the backlog is just starting. So there's not a ton to fight with there, but we're continuing the conversation. So if it's not now, it will absolutely be next year as we continue to fight to have this local authority. So those are two of the biggest statewide bills that we've been working on, as well as just keeping an eye on any amendments that might trump local authority, take away local authority. Also anything dealing with inclusionary zoning, accessory dwelling units. And so as those things continue to unfold, we'll be sure to share them with everyone, and happy to answer any questions that anyone here may have.
Thank
And
you.
just
Mhm.
Mayor, I'm sorry, just to add one more thing. Thank you, Teresa. And I add one more thing. This is, it's not funny, but I'm glad we went after our financing last year with the two bill, because right now they have a shortfall of about 500 million in the budget right now, and people are really scrambling, trying to figure this thing out. There's some people aren't going to be happy. We hope it's none of the people we represent, but it's not. But we're hitting a wall right now, so there's going to be a lot of work to be done. So Teresa and I and Jamila will be pushing all the way through the session. I'm just glad we did our business financially last year. Maybe next year it'll look different, but right now we have a lot of work to do. And I really want to thank you all for considering the support for Doctors Community Hospital as well with the maternity health ward, because that's critical to your community as well.
And
Thank you.
Mr. Perez, I'm glad you brought that up. So I had that on my list. Also, just stepping back to Ms. Hessler's update about police accountability. I understand MACO is also supporting that, and their stance is it's really unprecedented to have county officials having oversight over municipal employees. So just curious, how likely do you think it is that we're going to get the opportunity that we're asking for to develop our own administrative hearing boards and police accountability boards? But then the second thing is just more of an FYI. At the Maryland Mayors Association meeting a couple of weeks ago, we had a panel with Senator Hershey, Delegate Buckle, and Delegate Corman on there. And it was interesting to hear bipartisan support for giving the municipalities the leeway that we're asking for. Typically, it's either lean in one direction or the other. And so just knowing that there are some Republicans who also support it in line with Democratic representatives, was just curious how you guys see this shaping up.
So I'm happy to start with an answer, and Tony, if you want to jump in at any point. So our team works very closely with MML, and we have made them very aware that we will not settle for having just someone from our municipality on the county board, because that just quite frankly does not make sense. Our voices will still not be heard. Having a county as robust as Prince George's County and with so many municipalities, just having one, it doesn't fit the needs of everyone, right? So those are some of the conversations we're having with the chairman, that we do not want to settle for this. This will not be an answer. We need to fight to have the authority. And for the second part of that question, the original bill, there was a bill last session that was actually introduced by Republicans to do this very thing. So I think the municipalities across the state, this is just a very real issue, regardless of party lines, that we are all going to continue to fight for. And strategy wise, it was important for us, knowing that we're in a state with a Democratic majority, to make sure that we had the right sponsors on the bill this year to even move the legislation, knowing that it will still be an uphill battle. So it might not be a year one thing just based on not having the data, but we are certainly going to make sure it's a year two thing, because it's not just our county, it's just not our municipalities. It's across the state. This is an issue.
Yeah, and I think Teresa covered it all. Thank you, Teresa. And it was really about we were really trying to be strategic. I mean, just to be honest, Teresa and I have been in front of this issue for the past couple of years, I would say. Some of the municipalities want to go after it right away, and this is probably one of them as well. But the reason why we had to be, it was such a hot button issue when the change happened. We had to let some things get in place so we can come in and say, because what the problem is when you put in legislation, sometimes it's unintended consequences. I'll give you an example of that in the county, not this issue. The county council, or the Prince George's County Council a few years ago, and don't quote me on the year, maybe 2014, 2015, something like that, moved legislation to pass increase the minimum wage.
You're frozen again.
State
Mr.
wouldn't do it for
Perez,
years.
your connection is going in and out.
Councilmember Harrison was how about now?
Yeah,
How about now?
it's better
Am I
now,
still
but
out?
just
Why
briefly,
don't-
we're
why don't
running
you
out of
close your
time.
camera?
Yeah.
Let me stay still.
No, close your camera.
Okay, well, let me just say, they passed the minimum wage. If you
You're still going in and
Yeah,
out.
we
Close your
lost you
camera.
again. If
Close
you
my
shut your camera
close my
off, it
camera.
might help.
They passed the minimum wage. Okay, how
Yeah,
Go ahead.
about now? How about now? Okay,
better.
they passed the minimum wage, and
So
I'm sorry,
what
we
could they-
lost you
Yeah,
again,
2015,
Tony.
something like that. They passed the minimum wage. Okay,
I'm sorry,
forget
but
the
it's
message.
okay.
yeah,
Just,
I
Answer the
can
message.
summarize what he's saying, because
Perfect.
he's talking about legislation that was passed
Yeah.
several years ago for the Minimum
Mhm.
Wage Act. And it wasn't perfect at the time, right? So this session, they're coming back and they're talking about it again, and they're making changes. So it's just procedurally, sometimes they're passing things to do the best they can and the best they know at the time. And then it's up for all of us to come back and to bring those concerns and changes to the table in multi-year legislation. So if I had to be in Tony's brain right now, I'm fairly certain that's where that was going.
Yeah, where I was going
Great.
to the unintended consequences, if you could hear me. And what happened was one of the
Tony, I'm sorry, it's
The
freezing up
Department of
again.
Disabilities, I think that's the name of it. That's it? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
out.
sorry, but thank
Yeah,
you all
okay.
for joining. It was good
Yeah.
meeting the rest of the team. We do have to move on with the agenda. As I said, it is packed. Tony, we do have a couple of things on the agenda further down in terms of legislative updates and letters of support on recent legislation that we've been tracking for the town. If you are able to stay on, that would be fantastic. If not, we do understand.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And I got a face-to-face, so I cannot stay on.
Okay, well, we appreciate you
Unfortunately, I wish I
joining.
could, so I apologize for that.
And,
No
and we're
worries.
happy to
Well,
circle
thank you.
back on
Sorry
any
for the-
letters that are needed. Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you, Teresa.
Oh, thank you so much,
Okay.
everyone. It was a pleasure seeing everyone this evening.
You as well. Take
Yes.
care.
Thank you.
Good
Take care,
seeing you
everyone.
all.
All right,
Give
thanks.
us the
Take care.
connection. Sorry, Tony.
Bye.
So,
That's okay.
Okay.
the next item on the agenda is with Mr. Kevin Strauss, VP of Regional Sales for GoGov, a mobile ticketing system. So Chief, did you want to tee that introduction up?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, colleagues, and residents. So we took initiative to try to get some type of ticketing system that was brought up before, as well as a new modern type app that all our residents could download, that if they want to leave a comment, they want to leave a complaint, if they want to report suspicious activity trees, and it would automatically direct them by clicking the tab. So we reached out to GoGov to see if they were able to help us out. And I'm just looking at a Zoom link now, and it seems like Mr. Kevin Stratus is on. So without further ado, I will let him take over from here. And I did tell him he had 5 minutes to do it, so he should be good to go.
5 minutes to get it out. Could someone possibly enable the screen share, just so I could show one or two things as we talk through it?
Sure, give us a moment here.
Sorry.
No worries, just one moment. Okay, you should be able to see the little green box now that
Yes,
says
there we
share
go.
screen.
Yep, excellent. So, all right, ready? Citizen request management in 5 minutes or less. Basically, you have 3 main components to this. You have 2 of them that are resident facing. One is a branded mobile app, meaning you name it what you want, and that's what you promote to the community. So the town gets the branding. So for example, this is Manassas, Virginia. They call their app Manassas Connect. This is Stafford County, Virginia. They call their app Ask Blue. Right, so you have a branded mobile app for residents. We're also going to give you a piece for your website, because doing service requests to the app is great, but of course, if someone makes their way to the web page, we want to make sure they could easily put something in. So we're going to give you something called an iframe that looks like this, where it has all the topics and categories for submission, like we had in the app, available through the web. And then most importantly, perhaps the third piece of this is a staff-facing software to track and manage the different items that come in. And this is a software designed to be used across department by every department in the town that wants to track or manage their work. And it essentially makes sure that when things come in, they're documented, ticketed, so they can be assigned to someone, and then tracked in terms of when they get completed. So those are your main components. And a really cool byproduct of this whole thing is going to be the idea that you'll be able to use the reporting tool, that once you start collecting all of this data, you'll be able to actually get some usable metrics out of here. You know, things like open versus closed by month, like a good health check. Where are we with the items that are coming in? Or how long do these take us to close? Or show me all the potholes we filled last month plotted on a map. So you're gonna get all this cool data. And with my really quick time, I would just like to show the resident experience. So easy to do. So I would have the Bladensburg app on my device, and I'd hit this start request button, and I'll see here a listing of any sort of service request that you as a town choose to make available for me. These are all just examples. We would work with the departments. Let's say I want to report some tall grass. I just search for that, and then it's really easy 2 steps. Step 1, do I have any pictures? I could say no. I could open the camera and start snapping. More commonly, what we see is people have already taken the photos, so they grab a few of them out of the camera roll. The app pulls the location right off of the photo and goes, that's where this issue is located. So now when you receive it on the staff side, we have like a GPS-able place to go to fix it. They fill out whatever information you ask them to fill out, and then go ahead and hit submit. And that's how easy it is for a resident. The goal over time is to have that little 30-second process replace calling, going through the main phone tree, talking to a receptionist, right? Or someone that works in administration, funneling to the right department. So we want to replace all that. And then the resident can also always track the status of their request on their own as well. So here's all the other things this resident ever put in. It's my personal service history. I'm a very active resident. here's my tall grass complaint currently open. And the goal is going to be that when we teach the staff how to use this staff-facing software, as they work on the item from start to finish, it'll update the resident. And we're going to give staff things like a resident service history. So, hey, here's all the items this resident has ever worked on with us. If we need to go back and help them with something previously, service history by location. Hey, here's all the other things we've ever fixed at this address. Oh, I didn't notice we've had a lot of illegal dumping there. Maybe we want to roll a cruiser by more often, or we filled a lot of potholes there. Maybe we need to try something more permanent in terms of a fix. And then we'll make it so that as you guys work on these, for example, I have a status of scheduled. When I, it's going to be when I set my item to that, sorry about that. When I set my item to that and hit save, I know I'm coming up on my time here. What it's going to do is actually fire off an automatic update back to the resident that sent it in. So I have a status of scheduled, I hit save, we got a push alert. Hey, the message for you about the tall grass has been submitted. And then it's a nice update for me as the resident. Oh, I can see this is scheduled. And then at the bottom is a nice customized message from the department working on it. And then ultimately, like when we finish this one, there's a section called reason close. And this is text to go to the citizen to tell them why this is considered closed out. And we're able to easily type in a message on the fly or use some pre-canned messages, for consistency's sake. And when we close it out, it'll not only close the issue on the staff side, but of course notifies the resident with a email and a push alert saying, hey, the issue you submitted to us about the tall grass has been closed. A big green tag for me as a resident showing me a status of closed and a check mark that says resolution. So again, a very quick overview, but the highlights, easier digital submission for the resident. We're not shutting down phone calls. We could of course still take those and enter them in. As a staff member, a nice easy view of all the stuff I have to work on and when ideally it should be done by, and then bridging the gaps between the two. As I work on it as a staff, we're keeping the residents updated automatically, and we're able to do so because we don't have to take manual time to do that. These things are just kind of firing out on their own. So that's my 5 minutes flat. I'll stop talking. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you guys.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation, Mr. Strauss. It definitely looks like an engaging and user-friendly system, but also can provide some useful data to the internal team as we're tracking incidents and occurrences, the frequency of those and so forth. Any questions from the council? I know we're at time, but just want to give you an opportunity if there's a burning question. Councilmember Rao.
Thank you so much, Mayor James. Mr. Strauss, I believe I spoke with you in the past as it relates to a notification system as well. Is this compatible with that system, or will the notifications can be sent through this system, or is
it's the same app. We split them out as modules. If the town said our need right now is the 311, we'll come back to the notifications later, so they're priced separately, but it's the same app. And what you're looking at on my screen is a lot of our customers are doing both. These are real updates that communities across the US have sent just today. St. Patrick's parades, road construction, garbage issues, trash pickup, council meeting announcements. So you certainly, Jocelyn, and thank you for remembering that, could definitely go ahead and push information out through there. Our notifications tool sends push alert to the app and also goes out to Facebook, Twitter, and email if you'd like it to.
Thank you.
And
Will
thank
the
you.
app be on the town website? Someone just asked in the chat, I'm sorry, Ms. James, they just asked, will the app be on the town website for residents to download? And the answer is absolutely. We actually have a whole marketing team that will work with you to create a launch kit and get you all sorts of graphics and stuff, so you have everything you need, so that everything will be out and available with QR codes and everything like that.
Thank you for that. And then the one question I had for Councilmember Rowd, I recall when we were allocating funds from the CARES Act funding that we received due to COVID-19, we did sign up for an alert system for town residents. I know we've lost staff, been up and down, but was just wondering, is that system complementary to this, or is it duplicative, Councilmember Rowd, with the tool that you had recommended previously? I want to say that might have been the end of 2020 going into 2021. Did we lose Councilmember Rowd? Okay, so we'll have to vet that internally, because I do recall we paid money, or Mr. Tonelli, if you can help
We
us
do have that. It's for the reverse 911 system. And
Okay.
we signed a 3-year contract with that, and that's expiring this year.
Okay, now would that integrate with this at all or not? Because with the 311 type of system, it's the same sort of thing where you can submit tickets for concerns. So, and Chief, I see your hand if you want to jump in there.
Thank you, Mayor. I would say the only difference with this would be, this is a more robust type mobile app that our residents and everyone can go to report a multitude of if they want to do a compliment, if they want to do a complaint, if they wanted to report trash or anything sort of what Kevin just went through. I would say this will be somewhat different than the 911 reverse call. That would just be a messaging system that we talked about earlier, as opposed to having this mobile app that we can empower our residents to report a multitude of things other than just get alerts. That's all I would just like to add to that.
Okay, thank you for that, Chief. That helps clear it up. Mr. Charnovich, did you have something to add in there?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief at the essence of time. I just wanted to point out that Mr. Jeffries and I have been working on the reverse 911 system where we would distribute alerts to the community that you referenced, Mayor James, from 2020 or 2021. So we have been working to get that launched. But I concur with Chief Collington. This is a more extensive system that would be more geared towards internal use and management, data tracking, and also for residents to submit things to us, as opposed to us just distributing out notices. So I just want to say that too, Mayor, that we have been trying to get that other system off the ground.
Great, thank you for just clarifying the difference. And Chief, thank you for weighing in there as well with some of the distinctions and the benefits of this particular system. Is your hand up still from before, Chief, or did you have another comment? Okay.
Thank you,
All
everyone,
right.
for your time. Chief
Thank
has my
you.
number. You guys have a great rest of your meeting. We'll be here when you're ready to talk. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Have a great evening. Thank
You
you.
too. All right, thank you so much for that. Then that completes the items under appearances for tonight's agenda, and we'll move forward with the old business items. We did want to just circle back because a community notification was sent out a little over a week ago where the county provided, I'm sorry, not the county, the town council provided an update regarding information that was put out in the community about a proposed warm night shelter. And so just again, wanted to echo the sentiment provided in that written statement that there will not be a warm night shelter or any shelter being placed on the Central Baptist site in the town of Bladensburg. And I wanted to take this opportunity to publicly thank our entire team for all of their efforts and truly coming together. And the town residents may not understand this because I realize not everyone talks to a council member every single day, but just procedurally wanted you to understand the manner and the reason for which our communications occurred. We received information through Councilmember Rout in a meeting that she had with Councilmember Ivy. And when she brought that information back to the team, our best process that we agreed to collectively was to get all the information before making any sort of public statements. We wanted to do our due diligence as leaders in this community and not come back to the residents and stakeholders without having all the facts. And so we do appreciate your time because that is exactly what we did so that we could get to the best outcome. We took the opportunity to meet with Councilmember Ivy, critical members of the Prince George's County government. That was meeting number one. And then we followed that up with a meeting with the county executive. And at the end of the day, she heard our clear vision, which is communicated with our 450 master plan. We were able to present that to her with her direct reports and to get her buy-in into the town's vision. So again, I don't want any confusion out in the community. This team worked together. We got the information. We leveraged all the strengths of everyone here. And that's not just the council. The council played a large role in that. Our staff played a large role. Mr. Perez played a role in that as well. And as a result, we got to the best outcome for our community. So I did want to open it up to the rest of our team, council members, in case you wanted to add anything there.
Mayor James, I just want to take this time to publicly thank our representatives on the county and the state level for also partnering with us. because when we individually and as a group reached out to them for their support guidance, they definitely was there along the way. And then I always want to thank our residents who knew about it, shared their concerns, shared their visions, shared their opposition support, which was definitely appreciated.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Brown, because I know you were there with me with the meeting at the county exec, so certainly weigh in. And I do want to say, and correct me if I'm not recalling correctly, Councilmember Brown, but County Executive also Briggs did also apologize at the outset of the meeting and said she misspoke in her communications with media. It was never intended to be a warm night shelter. They were looking at transitional housing. So for those who are looking to move into getting their own place, but again, that came through discovery. That was not initially known to this group and came as a result of outreach and advocating. But Councilmember Brown, feel free to add more.
Oh, thank you, Councilmember James. That is correct. And again, would like to thank our council in doing our due diligence, and also like to thank the residents, who weighed in as well. But once we put the process in place so that we could gather all the information and have the meeting with the appropriate elected officials and have a desirable outcome for the residents, and because we are residents here in Bladensburg as well. And we do thank the county executive for sitting down with us and taking the time and listening and offering up some really good solutions and taking a look at what the town of Bladensburg, what our vision is for Bladensburg as well, and also wanting to work collaboratively, the county executive and her office wanting to work collaboratively with the town of Bladensburg. Thank you so very much, Mayor.
Thank you for that. And so again, just appreciate residents giving us the time to get all the information. I think it was inappropriate to just jump out there telling you guys things that we hadn't confirmed fully. And so I know many people felt frustrated that we didn't speak right away. We had to do our homework and get you all the information in order to give you the truth and the facts regarding that situation. And so one of the things I wanted to just share and moving into the next item was the next steps on the town's master plan, because this was a huge reason why the county executive understood where we were coming from and offered her support with our next steps. And so for those who are not aware, back in around 2017, the town started a master plan project. And in that project, we began working with the University of Maryland School of Architecture. So rather than hiring an expensive architectural firm, we decided to leverage the brilliance of students and give them the opportunity to work with our community. And so for a donation for over 2 school cycles, what occurred was there were 2 cohorts of students who over the course of a school year, they came to Bladensburg, they met with us at town hall, not just the town council and staff, but we engaged members of our school community, faith-based community, residents, business owners. We tried to just spread the net far and wide so that we collectively could talk about what our vision was for our 450 Annapolis corridor. So as a result of those meetings occurring again over 2 school years, the students came back, they presented their renderings to the town as part of our master plan. Well, let's recall there was this little thing called COVID. Yes, I'm being sarcastic, but that happened in the middle of our process. So clearly our focus really had to shift away from that to, as many of you know, trying to get food resources, trying to get housing resources. The nature of the pandemic really required a shift. And I don't apologize for that. I commend the council for really shifting focus. Now, getting into 2021, as we were still progressing through COVID, it was not over. The town was able to secure a grant from Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. What that grant enabled us to do was to have a market feasibility study done to support the master plan. And so that process started in 2021. It concluded in 2022 with a presentation by Maryland National Capital Park and Planning to the Town Council at the December 2022 meeting. So that was the end of 22. So now coming into 2023, we're looking to again advance this project forward. And as such, I've talked with various members of the Town Council about the best path forward. And we agreed that we would like to secure a consultant to really help us take that master plan and start moving it into actionable steps to keep our progress moving forward. And so with that, I want to introduce everyone to Mr. Jared Hawkins from High Street Strategies, and just to give Jared an opportunity to introduce himself and the firm and just talk about his the access that we would have in terms of his expertise, his firm's expertise, and how they can help us move to the next phase of our planning process. So with that, Mr. Hawkins, welcome to you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you. Thank you for the opportunity. Councilmember Rout, Brown, and McBride, good to see you all. Thank you for this opportunity to meet with you all, introduce myself. Again, my name is Jared Hawkins. I'm a senior associate with High Street Strategies. I'll tell a little bit about my firm first that I work with. We're a firm that does governmental affairs and consulting on the federal, state, and local levels of government. We do a lot of our work in Annapolis on the state level. We've done some development work in Baltimore City. And, you know, I've been brought on about a year ago to really expand things into Prince George's, do some land use and development work and consultation in Prince George's County. My firm, our, I guess, ethos is that we only take on clients and work with and partner with people that we feel are making society better. So we represent a lot of environmental nonprofits, renewable energy companies, healthcare nonprofits, federally qualified health centers, and sustainable development companies. So it provides work that we all are proud of, and we feel, you know, we're making impact every day. A little bit more about me personally, how I kind of, I guess, fell into this opportunity was prior to this position, I was the Prince George's representative for Senator Ben Cardin, where, you know, I was going across the county learning, you know, about every corner of it. And I came across Bladensburg. I grew up here. I knew, you know, where Bladensburg was, and I've been here before, obviously. But Bladensburg and the port towns, when I really got an intimate understanding of what the town is, what it can be, the culture, the assets that it has. I have been extremely interested in working with the town of Bladensburg, not just from a business perspective, but as a Prince Georgian, I just think that that's, you know, it's what's needed, it's what's necessary. So the mayor will tell you, we've had a bunch of conversations, and I have been beating down her door, and not, metaphorically, not literally. And that's for the police chief. Because, you know, I'm just passionate about the town and passionate about the port towns more broadly. And, you know, this thing that we went through with Prince George's County and the homeless shelter potentially coming, it kind of shows that if you're not, you know, taking initiative, or, you know, either development happens to you or by you. So I look forward to getting to work with you all. I look forward to providing consultation with and access to Prince George's County government, finding creative ways for funding. You know, how do we partner with, for instance, the Redevelopment Authority and get them really to the table, and but doing it in a way that makes sure that the residents of Bladensburg get to control their destiny, and they're not, again, being developed, but they're actually leading the development. Also partnering with other consultants to see what's available on the state and federal level of government. And then, you know, understanding that you're just going to need some folks that are going to roll up their sleeves and, you know, get to work and knock out some of that tedious work that may not be within the capacity of town staff right now, you know, just due to shortages. So I really want to put my fingerprints on the town of Bladensburg in a positive way and help you all achieve what you all are trying to achieve. And I really think that with your assets, the Anacostia River, your access points into Washington, D.C., your proximity to University of Maryland and the Arts District and all of that, there's a lot that can be done, and look forward to working with you all.
Great, thank you for that, Mr. Hawkins. And so want to open it up in case there's any comments or questions from the council in our last half minute here. But as I said, Mr. Hawkins, I've talked to our team separately, of course, about this endeavor and the importance of taking steps. And so it's just great to have the support of everyone, and just procedurally. So this does not require a vote. It's under that $10,000 threshold that Mr. Charnovich can proceed with. So again, this was really to bring it to the forefront for the community, make everyone aware, and then also provide the introduction for those who have not yet met Mr. Hawkins. Councilmember Rout.
Thank you so much, Mayor James. Thank you so much, Mr. Hawkins. Congratulations on being in this capacity. And thank you for having an interest in helping the town of Bladensburg, because you believe in us and our vision. My concern is that I just would like for to understand more about the role of like how you would be playing, because I didn't have an opportunity to speak with you before this meeting about what role will you be representing us and connecting us to developers and or the county, because my concern is that especially with this potential development that would have been happening to us, we sat in a room with Councilmember Ivy and the team who confirmed about the warm night shelter. And so with that, so for moving conversations forward with regard to that 450 development, would you be speaking on our behalf? Would you be working with us on a strategy, talking to some of our community members? What would this relationship look like?
Sure. Councilman Rao, appreciate the question. And to answer it, Bladensburg has a master plan. It seems like you all have an idea of what you all would like to be. And I want to be integral in making sure that happens. So that means following up and leading the charge with county government, state government, working with the redevelopment, revenue authority, or public works, or whatever relevant county agencies that could be helpful to us. Also defending the vision and the ideals that the town has with regards to where they want to go. Really understand that we have to develop the town of Bladensburg and making sure that that's apparent. I guess the silver lining in this whole thing is with regards to the transition home potentially coming to Bladensburg, is I think people really understood like how quickly things can change and how things can wind up on their doorstep and how important these things are. And once something gets going, we've seen it before with regards to development. Once you hit certain thresholds, it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube on certain things. So I think we need to be aggressive, take initiative, make it apparent to developers, government, and anyone who has any type of authority or interest in Bladensburg that this is what Bladensburg desires. While understanding that ultimately municipalities don't have zoning authority. So we are to a degree kind of beholden to the county council. But I think, Councilmember Ivy and members on the county council, there's some alignment there, and Bladensburg is a beautiful place. And I think that we can figure out a pathway forward.
And Mr. Hawkins, just to add on to that, because I realize not everyone on the call, as far as our residents go, received the scope of work that you provided to the council. But the work would be to lead the development of a Bladensburg land usage and redevelopment strategic plan. So again, taking the master plan and helping us to identify actionable steps to move it forward would be within the identified scope of work. Additionally, High Street will provide regular outreach and engagement as well as consultation in the advancement of our strategic development needs. High Street would serve as a proxy, advise and manage our strategic land development initiative. So as you said, supporting the staff. So Vito, Rich, we're not doing this to dump on you. This is a resource, for you all as well. But there may be times where Jared has to come to you for information and things like that. They would help us facilitate meetings, not just with our community, but also with the county council, county executive staff, state level and federal staff as well. And so, Mr. Hawkins, I know our time has expired. I see a question from Councilmember Brown, but just as a way of follow-up, what I'm working to do is get you a digital copy of the Towns 450 master plan. I'm also trying to get you a copy of the market feasibility study, just so you have information to start with. You're not having to waste time, looking for these resources. And then I also tracked down a copy of the last Port Town sector plan. So we'll get you a packet of information, and that way you can review it to help you start assessing, where we need to prioritize our time first. But Councilmember Brown, I think your hand is up.
Yes, I thank you so very much, Mayor. And also I thank you to Mr. Jared Hunter as well. Just very quickly. So in terms of development in the town of Bladensburg, will you also have kind of like your eyes on something or developers who are interested in Bladensburg before they actually move forward with trying to develop something in Bladensburg without the knowing of the town and council?
Well, I think the most important thing is making sure that we work with developers that represent the vision and are interested in the vision of Bladensburg and the development that you all want, and how that looks and where that comes from. That would be my responsibility to kind of figure those things out. And I'll work with staff, work with the council, work with the mayor to make sure that we're moving in the right direction on that. Like I said, the most important thing is that we represent the vision of Bladensburg. We work with people that respect and honor that vision, and we move with a certain level of assertiveness.
Great. So again, thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for joining us this evening. And we're really looking forward to working with you to move our plans forward. Again, we'll be in touch. I'll work with Mr. Charnovich to get everything to you. I have 2 out of the 3 items. I just need to send an email to get a soft copy of one final report, and then I'll send everything your way. But again, have a great evening. Thank you again for the opportunity to partner. And we're really looking forward to doing some great things for the town of Bladensburg, and hope you have a great night. You can hang out if you don't have anything else better to do. But
Thank you, Mayor.
yeah,
Thank you.
sorry, I cut you
Oh,
off.
and
I'm
it's-
sorry.
The market study is in the chat. The link is, somebody said it's in the chat, but it looks like you need the master plan.
Great. Thank you so
I have a
much.
physical copy of that, so that's why I was offering. but-
Gotcha. Thank you. All right. Appreciate everybody jumping in there and helping. The next item under Bladensburg, or sorry, under old business is the Bladensburg project priority worksheet. And I know from the last meeting, we had just introduced it and wanted to just help put all of our big ideas, all the major projects that we're working on here so we can resource appropriately, but also prioritize these items. I know I worked with Councilmember Brown just to get an initial thing, because sometimes it's easier for the team to just react to it versus asking each of you to start from scratch. So Councilmember Brown, I'll toss it over to you for further input.
Thank you, Mayor James. Yes, so looking at this, the project list, what we want to do is we want to prioritize as we move forward, and especially with the projects that we've received funding, because one of the things that we don't want to do, and that's to be in jeopardy of losing funding that we receive from the state and the federal levels. So we're looking at the 3 top priorities that I just think right off the bat three top priorities are the town hall, the Boswick House, and the vocational / trade school. So those are the top three priorities. And then the other projects, we would like for the council to take a look at those projects and let us know which ones that you all think are high, medium, and low priorities. And we would at least try to have this complete by our next meeting in April, and also which would help align some things as we move forward during our budget season.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. So wanted to open it up for any questions or comments, because again, it's just really to get everyone's ideas. So please send your edits to Mr. Charnovich so that he can update it accordingly, because as Councilmember Brown mentioned, we're going into the budget cycle. So it's also perfect time to just make sure we're aligning resources with the top priorities. Councilmember Blunt, I saw your hand up.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Would that also include the nonprofit grants, Trina? That, you said the three top priorities, or that's something different?
That's on the and that's the other thing too. Look at the project list and let us know if there's anything missing, and that if it is not on there, it can put it on the list, and then we'll see where it comes in as a priority. I mean, the thing is that we have a lot of projects and we do prioritize stuff, and when we look at because that the one, what you're talking about are the grants that we issue to our nonprofits. I mean, that's always, falling within the priority because it's part of our budget cycle. And so is that the one you're referring to?
But actually,
for the ARPA, right?
Yes.
Okay,
You're talking about for the opera. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I think I
mean,
mislabeled it. I put down ARPA business relief, so it should be business / nonprofit.
Actually, I don't have the packet, so I'm just going what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, but I can correct that. So it shows business and nonprofits, because I remember that was a part of it. So that's my fault.
I know you're fine.
Thank you for
that. We do have those too. And then and the other, yes, the other priority are the opera funds, because those funds are going to, there's a time limit, time frame that we have to perform against those funds as well, and to spend down.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Rout.
Thank you, Mayor James. Thank you so much for putting this together, Mayor Pro Tem Brown and Mayor James. I have been talking with each of you over the course of my time being here on the council. And I remember when I was just a resident, we need to generate some more income. Annexation needs to be a priority. We have a lot of things that are wider that will impact the services and supports that we provide to our residents, and we keep growing in our budget, and we need to look at growing. And Mayor James, you and I spoke, you were right on saying that we need to look at more business growth and more business development in some of the surrounding unincorporated areas. And so I'm just I have a concern that it's not here. In addition, LEOPS is a big thing that was from last, from our, we've been discussing that. And I know the council, we were comfortable with us hitting a certain target. So I would also say, with that, we all agreed we need to generate more income. So those were the things that I felt was missing from this list. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Rout, for raising the point about annexation. So that is included in the redevelopment plan, and that was also part of the market feasibility study as well. So, but I think you're right. We don't want to lose track of it. It is critical that we grow the budget. And then with respect to LEOPS,
so can we call it out on the list?
Yeah, sure. We can break that out. And then as far as LEOPS, correct me if I'm wrong, I was thinking that's more of an employee benefit, so not really a town project. I'm thinking of like work streams on behalf of Bladensburg that affect economic development and things of that nature. But if you guys feel that, to me, it's an employee benefit, but if we're gonna look at that and put benefits down here, I don't know, I think that's a little bit different. Tell me what you guys think.
I would be very comfortable with putting benefits as a whole, because I know we talked about like human resources coming, and that's a part of that, a human resources department coming to support the needs of our town. But specifically, when we had looked at the numbers for LEOPS, it's going to take us a strategy to get to where we need to be. So benefits as a whole, I'm very comfortable with that. But I just don't want to, we need to get a strategy, whether it's hiring a firm, looking at, a strategic plan on how to get to the needs. And our police department is 50% of our budget. They're the largest department here in town. So, I would really look at calling it out benefits for LEOPS. Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Mayor,
Does
I would-
anybody else agree with that? Because
Mayor,
again,
I
I'm
would-
just,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I don't know if
council
this
member.
may- Yeah, definitely, benefits is a priority, but we're talking about, I'm differentiating because we're talking about projects here, town, we're talking about specific projects, like the town hall, the vocational school. Talking about projects versus spending. So does the talk track happen? Should that happen? Yes, but I don't know that that is a part of the project list, because that's falling up under, human resources. And I mean, that right there pretty much kind of have life of its own, but is it a town project? I just don't see it as a town project, but it's a town priority under human resources. That's
Thank you for that. Councilmember Blunt, I see your hand.
I know when we talked about LEOPS and I figured we put a hope to it, that we were waiting to see what the cameras generate, the money we generate from the cameras, and that could possibly go towards LEOP. That's what we said, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I know the budget planning process is coming up. And so while we will get an update tonight in the council meeting on camera revenue, just so we kind of have an idea of where we are over the last few months, that's why I was thinking it's more of a budget conversation as we plan for the employee benefits and how we remain competitive as we're looking at the broader picture. So retirement, health insurance, all of those other things to attract, and keep the good employees that we have here. Councilmember.
And Mayor,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, yeah, and just really also, with it being sustainable for the town. And then I think also, if we do get some of those additional, with the annexation and the business growth and generators, because, and with, we can have a conversation with Mr. Vito, just saying, okay, if we did this, because what we did do is we did give an increase, there. But, and then looking at over a period of 1 to 5 years, what does that look like? How much revenue does the town need to generate to sustain something like that without having to raise taxes on our residents and so forth? So.
And I guess that's the reason I've always had this $10 million metric in mind, that if we could get our town revenue to $10 million, then we don't need the speed camera revenue. The town could sustain LEOPS. But just to Councilmember Route's point, we have to grow the amount of revenue that we're generating consistently. And so I think you're right. Just when we have this budget conversation, establishing where we are and what the target needs to be, so we have a fallback. Because what if everyone gets used to the cameras and the revenue goes down? Can we make sure that we've got the safety net? So no matter what, if we go down the road of LEOPS, we can write that check every year. So again, I appreciate everybody's time and the
But
thoughts
are you
here.
going to add human resources strategy? So I think Councilmember Brown recommended that, like that's bigger, or we're just going to just.
Is that what you were saying, Councilmember Brown? I thought it was more so under our benefits conversations.
Yeah, not under the projects, because to me, it's not our project, but it's, for me, it falls under, with the budget and under just human resources having a category of its own.
Got it. Okay, thank you. So I'll still just note it. So when we have our
Yeah.
budget conversations, we can dig deeper and really start coming up with those plans if that works. But again, thank you all. So next up, actually bear with me. I just want to make a note about the budget meetings.
I mean, we're at 6:36.
Yeah, I'm trying to listen, all these people raising hands. I'm like watching the clock and if I say, oh, we're out of time, I'm the bad cop. So I think we can do this next part quickly, and I'm relying on the team to help me out with this. We have really been hard at work, and this message is for the residents. I am so proud of how I feel, and I said this to a couple of folks here, that this session really been tracking legislation more than previous years by working together. And I'm so grateful, if I can't make something, or if Councilmember Rout or Brown can't make something, there's someone who's willing to step up and testify or put a letter together. And so I want to thank everyone on the council for your support and really moving us along in a productive way this legislative session. So rent stabilization was something that was brought to us. One of the residents at Quincy Village first elevated that concern to us last summer. I know it occurred in Ward 1 because that's where Quincy Village is. So folks like Councilmember Rout and Councilmember Brown have really been on the front lines. I've been involved as well, really trying to help residents through that situation. But we didn't stop there. Councilmember Brown brought up the point about really leveraging PGCMA's voice so that you had 27 municipalities moving in unison, basically with one message, which is we need some parameters in place so our residents aren't experiencing price gouging as it relates to elevated rents every time they sign a new lease. So Councilmember Rout was actually there February 28th and able to testify when CB 007-2023 passed by the Prince George's County Council. So again, thank you so much. I saw your post. Thank you for being there and representing the team on that. That legislation was actually signed by County Executive Also Brooks on March the 2nd. So it is a law. And there is a 3% cap on the amount of rent that can be increased. And mind you, that is over the next year. So they are still looking into longer term solutions, but we did want to come back to the community and let you know, we heard you, we heard your concerns, we advocated working together, not just here, but through the other municipalities. And we were able to see some success there. The other thing related to that is CB 024-2023. This is something that we actually need to put a letter of support together really quickly about, because in conjunction with the rent stabilization, the Prince George's County Council is now trying to pass this to provide a rental assistance fund. And so we know in the past, the CARES Act funding and ARPA funds were there through the county, but they're trying to assist. Councilmember McBride, were you saying something?
What's wrong?
Oh, I thought. Oh, it went out. Okay. You're back. We can see you. But this legislation is really establishing some financial safeguards for our residents. And so just wanted to bring that up. And it looks like everyone's on board. We can vote on it in the next meeting, but just want to ask for a letter of support because that deadline is tomorrow, close of business. Did I get that right, Mr. Charnovich? Okay, so that's one we really do need to move on. The other item, because flooding continues to be an issue in our communities, is HB 892 Comprehensive Flood Management Grant Program. And this is proposed by our very own delegate, Julian Ivey. So you have to support the hometown team. It is also being sponsored in the Senate, and that is SB 813. That has not been heard on the floor, I don't think. So we can find out from Mr. Perez and his team when it's coming up, but I wanted to flag that for the council and ask that we do a letter of support for that legislation, which again would provide funding for communities in Prince George's County that have a high EJ score. And obviously we would meet that criteria, but to help with funding for flood situations. And so again, that's being sponsored by Delegate Ivey and Senator Alonzo Washington. And then SB 229, which is also in the House as HB 1130 is on vehicle noise abatement, and this is something that is a MML priority as well. And so just wanted to flag that for the council. So people who put these exhaust systems on their car that make them loud. You know, it's frustrating if you're a new mom and you've just gotten your baby to sleep and someone comes down your block with these loud systems waking, you know, up your children, or you have people who suffer from PTSD in the community because they've served and encountered trauma in the service. And it makes it very difficult for them. And so the idea with that legislation is to regulate with noise abatement monitoring systems. And then last but not least, SB 114, which is regarding real property tax increases, or what we all know as constant yield. That legislation did pass successfully. And so now the reason that's so important for us is it seemed like it was false advertisement, and Vito, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but anytime the state dictated our tax rates should go down and we left it the same because things don't cost the same as they did the previous year, we had to advertise that as though it was a tax raise, which was not correct. And so the state did hear the municipalities' concerns with that and finally right-sized legislation so that the only time we have to publicize a tax increase is when we truly say we are raising resident taxes. So that's like the 10-second elevator pitch, Mr. Tonelli. I don't know if you want to add more there, but again, just wanted to make sure the community was aware that we've been tracking these things. We are continuing to track these things, and where it makes sense, provide either testimony or written letter of support. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. And Councilmember Brown, I'm watching the time, 6:42. I see it. I see it. All right.
Mayor James, I have a question as it relates to the bills that have not made it out. I think if we could prioritize, is that possible for us to just prioritize those letters of support? And then did we want to like assign them to members of our team so we can like send a draft via Teams, or so we can all pull our weight? Thanks.
Sure. And what recommendation did you have in terms of the priority there? You said for those that haven't been heard, I don't yet have the schedule.
So that's like, because we don't have the schedule.
I can check with Mr. Perez and find out the dates. And also with the understanding crossover date is next Monday.
Right.
So let me just make a note, because the plan really was just to get with him, get the dates. I know he couldn't stay on for this part of the meeting, but I really need that information from him so that we can come back and know when those deadlines are. And then just in terms of writing the letters, Mr. Charnovich, I spoke to him and he's comfortable at least getting us a draft so that we can mark it up. But of course, if you have some input, like bullets that you want to feed him to go into the draft, that I think that, I don't want to speak for you, Mr. Charnovich, but that might be helpful too.
Okay, yeah,
Thumbs
because
up.
it's just it'll be a tight turnaround, given it's,
Yeah.
less than 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm. And then the next item, which is just a friendly reminder about Prince George's County growing green with pride, which is coming up on Earth Day. Mr. Charnovich is checking to see from the tree grant that we received, whether or not they will provide us with an exception. That agreement provides that there's a professional contractor who installs the trees or plants them in the communities. And because it's Earth Day, we have community children who want to do an activity. We also have our partners at the waterfront park who need trees and are interested in some sort of event where we could bring, donate the trees to be planted there. So it's just really a matter of figuring out if that is allowable. And then if not, we will probably just have to budget to purchase some things that we can plant on that day. So again, just a reminder, but then also an FYI that we're trying to get clarity around whether or not we can get a portion of those trees. Any questions there?
Can we get a cherry blossom? Just kidding.
Ooh, that would be so lovely. I don't even know what they would cost, but that would be really lovely. Can't hurt to ask. I'm not sure, but we can ask. And then, was there anything else, comments or questions about that? Okay. Next up is the Security Camera Grant Program, Councilmember Rout.
You on mute.
Talking away. Thank you, Mayor James. I just wanted to really give an opportunity just to understand where we are in the process. To my understanding, we sent it up for legal review, just to make sure that we were doing everything right. Our town attorney, she had 3 major concerns, which were minor, which I agreed with. And so, and just in speaking with Chief Collington, you know, there are just some things that our police department needs in order to support the work that we do to ensure a safe community. And so I just wanted to hear from the residents that have been speaking to myself about the program as one of the persons that brought it forth. Thank you for the town council for your vote and for your support for this preliminary project. It's just going to be a pilot project, and they've also been reaching out to Chief Collington, to my understanding. So Mr. Sharnovich, if you could, please.
Thank you, Councilmember Rout. The initial application that was presented was provided to the town attorney, as you mentioned, and the town attorney sent back a version of the application, which I placed into everybody's packets this evening. So I wanted you to all see that the town attorney did review the application, made some edits, and that was provided along. Also, I am trying to work, going to schedule a meeting, given this is going to be a cross-departmental endeavor that's going to include police, finance, and administration. I want to make sure that we are all on the same page before we launch this thing out. I want things to go smoothly and seamlessly. So I'm going to meet with Mr. Tonelli and also either Chief Collington or whoever he designates from his team over there on this topic to get this moving forward. And I anticipate we're gonna probably do that in the next week or so, and then we will we'll launch the pilot program out. So we are finalizing getting it started. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you for that, Mr. Charnovich. And I know there was an email exchange before the meeting, so I appreciate you laying that out there as well. And Councilmember Rout, thank you again for bringing up this program to the community. I know when we were at NLC, we thought it would go in a different direction, but you stayed the course and, you know, helped us come to another solution working with Chief Collington and myself. So we definitely appreciate it. Chief, I want to turn it over to you. I know you've got 2 items on here and we're at 6:49. Let's see. Both items are on the second meeting agenda. Are you comfortable with leaving it there, or did you want to just kind of tee it up now for further discussion?
I'm good, Mayor, with leaving it there in the essence of time.
Okay. And the only reason I ask is because I see the Chief of Staff from Delegate Fennell's office on, and just wanted to respect their office and give her an opportunity if she had anything for the team. Ms. Gorman?
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good, thank you.
First of all, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I just have a few things. First off, we're having a food giveaway on Thursday with Shabbat Ministries. I know the delegate has sent out the flyer, but I want to make sure that you all let your residents know that they are invited to come and pick up food at the Rolling Crest Community Center. Also, secondly, I want you to let your residents know about Delegate Fennell's scholarship. Is open and the students need to send in their applications. Also, if you are a senior and you're going to college, you can apply for her scholarship also. So I don't want to just to say it's seniors in high school, but it's our seniors, okay? And thirdly, I would like for you all to put out to the residents the community, that if they're interested in receiving Delegate Fennell's newsletter, please send her an email. We cannot, according to ethics, no longer send out emails to everybody because of ethical reasons. So they have to want to receive the emails. So please let the community know if they're interested in receiving Delegate Fennell's email, they would have to send an email to her office saying, I am interested in receiving the emails, okay? And if you have any questions for me, before I say, I truly enjoyed the tribute to all the roses. That was an awesome program. I truly enjoyed it. Thank you for allowing me to be there. Thank you for allowing Delegate's office to be there. We truly appreciate it. We have one correction on one of the citations. Her name was spelled incorrectly, but we're going to correct that spelling and send it and bring it by the office, and you all can get it to her. So that's all I have. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you so much for all your support, Ms. Gorman. And just so we can communicate about the newsletter, can you please share the email address that residents should send their request to be added to the email list to?
Do you want me to drop it in the chat?
Yeah, that works. Or if you want to spell it out, because the
Okay.
chat will only work for people on Zoom, but if for those
Zoom.
watching on
Okay.
Facebook, they
Sure.
can't. Yeah.
Her email address is Diana, DIANA .Fennell at house.state.md, like David, .us.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you for allowing me time to speak, and I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
I will stay on a little while longer. If you all have any questions of me, I still will be on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms.
You're
Gorman.
quite welcome.
So with that, that takes us to the end of the work session agenda for tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Rout. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. We're adjourned, and we'll see you back at 7 o'clock. Thank you.